now, and usually with face-to-face classes, I try to get to know everybody. Seeing you as a little square on Zoom, I think it's going to be a little bit harder. And so today, while I'm taking attendance, while I'm calling roll, I'm going to ask you folks if you could tell us something about yourself. Introduce yourselves to the class. What program are you in? Anything that you'd like to share. So I'm taking attendance in Blackboard. I'm doing it on another computer so that I can still see you folks. And attendance, again, will be a part of your grade. We'll look at that in the syllabus in a little bit. Ali Asif?
Yeah, it's Ali. My name is Ali Asaf. I'm majoring in accounting. This is actually my first time on Zoom too.
Okay, all right. Was it easy enough for you to get in?
It was all right. I'm on a laptop. My brother helped me out. He goes to UB.
Okay, all right. Thank your brother for me.
You're welcome.
Zachary Barkowitz. Oh, Zachary's here. He's having trouble with the audio. Actually, can somebody message and ask him if he can hear yet? Can somebody put something in the chat, please? Christina Brown.
Hi, my name is Christina Brown. I'm doing business management. It's not my first time doing Zoom. I had to use it in spring, so I'm pretty familiar with it.
Okay, great. Now, in business management, are you going to need to go all the way through to statistics and calculus, or do you just need your?
No.
Okay, all right, good. Omani Clemens? No? Holton Kusick?
It's Cusick, but I'm Colton Cusick, and I'm going for humanities and social sciences, and this is my first time using Zoom.
Were you able to get in all right?
Yeah, I'm all right.
Okay. You guys haven't been using Zoom over the summer to like meet up with your friends and everything? No, that's senior citizens. I don't know, my family, actually I have several friends that had regular Zoom meetings with out-of-town family that they couldn't see. Okay, David Dashno?
Yeah, you got it.
Okay.
My name is David. I always go by Jack. It's my middle name. I've just always gone by it. And I'm here for my criminal justice degree.
Okay, all right. So you must have an interesting take on everything that's going on in the news right now if you're in that criminal justice program. So, but we won't go into politics. Allie Greer?
Yes.
Hi, how are you?
Hi, I'm Allie, and I'm an art major.
Okay, all right. Is there a type of art that you're, like, are you painting or pottery or a little bit of all of it?
Well, I'm taking a design class and drawing and painting right now.
Okay, all right. I'm in awe of people with talent, so yay you. Madeline Hakes?
Hi, I'm Madeline, and I'm a criminal justice major.
Okay, all right. It's good to have you here. Michaela Isaacs? Michaela? Tyler Jameson? Tyler Jameson? Michael Kelly?
Me. I'm Michael. I'm getting my psychology degree. I work as a peer specialist for the Mental Health Association of Niagara County.
Wow.
Cool. This is my first time using Zoom too, so I'm not ready for this.
Okay. Let us know if we can help.
No problem.
Gina Marie Lachik.
Lachik.
How
Hello. Hi.
are you?
This is my last semester. I graduate in December. I am a human service major with a minor in disabilities.
Okay. All right. Very cool. So, have you used Zoom before?
I have a lot over the course of COVID with my daughter. She's taken Zoom classes for school, for dance. We've done Zoom parties and family. I've used it way more than I've wanted to.
Okay, because I have to apologize. I'm going off on a tangent now. If you're minoring in disabilities, the one thing that I'd like to try to do that I haven't learned how to do in Zoom yet is closed caption for like that can't get audio. Do you know how to close caption Zoom?
I don't, but I would certainly like to help you figure that out, and I would be more than happy to try to do that. I have a friend who's a administrator and a teacher in Massachusetts, and he uses this almost on a daily for work. So he's a special education teacher, so he may actually know how to do that. So I can find out for you.
Okay, and I'll I forgot that was on my to-do list until just now. So
absolutely,
if I can get it before then, and I think that would help with like Zach's problem of not being able to hear. Yeah.
Right. Absolutely. So, and Zach's problem may be really simple, and he, it might be simple to fix. And sometimes when we're trying to log in and do something new, we get, our stress, adrenaline kicks in, and he's hang in there, Zach.
Thank you.
Someone type that.
Oh, you can hear it now.
Oh, you can hear us now. Yay!
Yay! So yeah, I think in the directions that I sent you, I suggested downloading the app, but I know sometimes people can join meetings without it. So
yeah.
Hey, Zach. Okay, Jackson Mitchell.
Hi, I'm Jackson. I'm a criminal justice major.
Okay, all right. It's good to have you in class.
Thank you.
Demia Mitchell Ward.
Hi.
Hi.
I'm here for criminal justice, and I've used Zoom over the summer.
Okay. All right. Well, if you have any Zoom tips for the rest of us, we're ready for them.
Okay.
Caitlin Moshholder.
Hi, I'm Caitlin Mossholder, and I'm majoring for psychology right now.
Okay, all right. So you psychology people, you're the that's a brand new program at the college. So it's a lot of effort went into building it. It's good to see so many of you in it. Shane Page.
I'm Janae. That's how you say it.
How do you pronounce your first name, honey?
Janae.
Janae? Oh, it sounds so much prettier when you say it. I'm sorry I slaughtered it. What program are you in?
Baking and pastry arts.
Okay. All right. So you're taking most of your classes downtown at the culinary?
Yeah.
Are those the only classes that you have that are meeting live?
No, most of my labs, they're like split in half, where some are meeting in Zoom and some I have to go there.
Okay. All right. Sean Parsons. No? Joshua Saunders?
Yep, I'm here.
Okay.
First thing to say, is my audio fine? Because I am on the college Wi-Fi and stuff.
Oh, you're great.
Oh, okay. So I'm in liberal arts. I just take a lot of literature, but I guess we have in common that we're not really all in math. This is like contemporary, so
yeah,
that's good. I haven't taken math in a while, but we'll be fine.
Okay. Well, hopefully everybody will do well. I know that an awful lot of times on this first day of class, I hear people bemoan the subject matter.
Yeah.
In my mind, first day of class, everybody's starting with an A, and you're all gonna work hard to keep it there. And no matter what your past history is in math, Everybody, we're working hard to make sure that everybody's successful. Just have that can-do attitude, please.
Sounds good.
Connor Shemmerholm.
I'm Connor, and I'm a physical education major.
Okay, all right, all right. Lucas Shield, Child.
Yeah, hi.
Hi. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. I'm Lucas Shield, and I'm majoring in sports management.
Okay, all right, cool. Deborah Sterner.
Hi, my name is Debbie, and I'm going for human services.
Okay, cool. And Natalie Wagner.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
I'm also in criminal justice too.
Okay. All right. That's the list that I have here. Is there anybody whose name I did not call? Okay, I'm looking and I remember calling Michaela and she was not, Michaela? Michaela? All right, she's just connecting to the audio. So somebody remind me at the end of class to please backtrack and make sure that people who entered late, I take note of the fact that it's there. Closed captions in the settings. Okay, I'll have to check the settings when after class. Okay. So what I'd like to do first is share my screen with you and show you everything that's in Blackboard and walk you through the syllabus. Is everybody familiar with Blackboard? Does everybody know how to get to Blackboard from the college website?
Yes.
Yes?
Yeah. Yes.
Then we'll go directly to Blackboard. And I have to apologize when I'm sharing my screen. I cannot see the chat. So if anybody puts a question or anything in the chat, if anybody else notices, if you could share that with me, I'd really appreciate it. In Blackboard, this is the home page. Over here, the next thing, important first day information. That's actually takes you to the announcements. And the only announcement that's in there, and I apologize, I had put it in there when I first put the course together, which is why I gave it that alternate name on the side, is the information about us meeting in Zoom and the Zoom link that you need. So that we will be using that same Zoom information all semester, so that if you need to see it somewhere, it will be under that link in Blackboard. Most of the other things that I work with is in content. I'm going to skip over content in my math lab for a minute. Probably the easiest way for you to communicate with me is via email. And in the syllabus, I give you my email address, but I think that probably to contact myself or anybody else in class, if you've got Blackboard open, Blackboard email is easier to use. And as much as you don't need to know and type in an email address. So if you wanted to send me an email, you can just click on the all instructors users. If anything happens that I have to send something out to the entire class, I'd use the all student users. Right now, though, I'm going to go to select users because I'm not sure if you folks know this from your previous Blackboard experience or not. but you can go through and you can click on anybody in the class and select them and send anybody in the class an email. And as you scroll through this list, my name is in here always, also, pardon me. I'm going to go through and select all. And so I'm going to be sending an email to everybody this way. The subject is going to be welcome. And because I don't want to bore you with my inability to type, I'm just going to say hi. And so that's where you would type your message. And then if you click submit, that email doesn't go to you someplace in Blackboard. It goes to your college email account. It goes to your T-Wolves email account. So hopefully everybody just got a very short, obnoxious email from me saying hi. But again, that way you can email me, you can email anybody in the class without having to type in those long, arduous Niagara CC at SUNY.edu at the end of things. My grades, I use I know a lot of my coworkers have these wonderfully well-constructed Excel spreadsheets that they use for grades. Honestly, sometimes that's the easier way to go, but I don't. I always use the Blackboard gradebook. And the reason I use the Blackboard gradebook is as soon as I put something in the gradebook, it's visible to you, so that you will always know where you stand in this class. You will always have access to your grades. The only caveat to that is as we go through and look at the homework a little bit later, you're going to see that the homework is in my math lab. And because I want to leave all of the homework accessible to people even after it's past due, I don't submit zeros for missing grades until the end of the semester. And so if you have not done homework at the end of the semester, your grade's going to plummet because you're going to get a lot of zeros put in. Other than that, your grades should be pretty accurate in the Blackboard gradebook. I don't use Starfish very much. I did use it to email you folks before the semester began because Blackboard was unavailable. And periodically the college asks me to send progress reports through Starfish. But Starfish, again, is another way that we can communicate. And some of you may be able to, if you have a need, get an academic coach through Starfish. And down here, my lab's support, it was pointed out, again, the homework, and we'll see in a little bit, the homework will be through my math lab. If you have a technical problem with the my lab's website, I can do the math, but I'm not always that great with all of the technology stuff. They do not have people manning the phones right now because of COVID, so that if you ever need help with anything in my labs, you're going to go through that link, and it's like a online chat site to get help. I know that I did end up using that over the summer for one of my students, so help for students. Okay. So now let's go up and look at everything that's in that content folder. Let's start by looking at the course syllabus. And I have to apologize. I'm going to move everybody to the other side of the screen. So again, this is contemporary math. My name is Chris Torella. My office on campus is C277. I will not be there very much this semester. They are trying to encourage us not to go on campus if we do not need to. There's less cleaning that they have to do, and the fewer people on campus, the easier it is for them to socially, tell the state they're socially distancing. So my phone number is here, but because I'm not on campus, I'm probably only going to check for voicemails about once a day. So again, email is a better way to get a hold of me. My office hours are going to be Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 9 to 10, and Tuesday and Thursday from 10 to 11. And a little bit later, I'll show you there's a separate Zoom link that I will be using for my office hours. And basically, I'm just going to be sitting here at my computer with Zoom open for people to drop in. Please stop by, introduce yourself to me again, and if you ever have any questions, if you ever want to go over anything, that's what office hours are for. I know that, especially when I'm advising, I have students come in who tell me they're having a problem with a class, pardon me. And the first thing I ask them is, did you talk to the instructor? And usually the answer is no. Our jobs as teachers at the community college is to help you be successful. You should never be afraid to talk to an instructor. We're here for you. If there's anything going on, if you're having a problem with anything in class or out of class, please let me know, either by email or through office hours. Or if you want to talk in person, outside of class time, outside of office hours, I can give you a phone call, or I can set up a impromptu Zoom meeting with you at a time that's mutually agreeable. But please talk to us. Don't suffer in silence if things are going on. Textbook, what's required is the My Math Lab access code. There is an optional paperback textbook that you can also buy. Most people don't buy the textbook because you have access to the virtual textbook in My Math Lab, in My Lab's Math. You can buy the access code at the bookstore. You can go to the bookstore and purchase it in person. You can also order it from the bookstore through the college website. If you don't want to go on campus and get it, they'll mail it to you. And in a couple of minutes, I'll also, I apologize, I forgot to add, if you are purchasing it with financial aid, it's probably easiest to do that through the bookstore. If you're not purchasing it with financial aid, when we go into My Math Lab later, I'll show you how you can actually purchase it right from the website. Either way, if you can't afford it for a little while, you're going to see when we go to the website that you can get a 2-week free temporary access, which would take you to something like September 14th. So you need to have it purchased by then if you're going to use the free temporary access. If anybody's having financial difficulties and cannot afford the My Labs Plus, contact me outside of class time. I can give you worksheets to do for the homework instead of doing the homework online. If I don't want to lose anybody from class because they have financial issues. However, please realize if you do the worksheets instead, they must be turned in by their due dates. And I'm not that patient a person. I only grade pencil and paper work once. You're going to see that if you use the online My Labs Math, you have infinite do-overs. You can keep doing a problem over and over and over until you get it right. If you're giving me pencil and paper homework, I'm only going to grade it once. So you lose the do-overs and you lose what we'll see later are help functions. If there's anybody who wants to buy just the access code and likes to have that physical book in their hands, in my office and at home, I do have several back editions of the textbook. Old editions are not that different than the new ones. The content is pretty much the same, so that if you want a physical book and you want to borrow one and you don't want to purchase it, contact me and I can meet you on campus and lend you one of mine. Also realize that there's a copy of the textbook on reserve in the library so that you can go to the library and use that physical textbook also. Student learning outcomes, contemporary math, we need to cover 4 topics, the first three sets, probability, and statistics, were always in the class. Originally, the class was just those. This class was, before it got approved as Gen Ed in math, this class was written as a prerequisite for people who were going to take statistics. So if there's anybody who's following this up with statistics, those 3 chapters will help you with that. And then we had to add a 4th chapter to give a little bit more meat to the class to get that Gen Ed designation. And I was the one who really argued for that 4th to be consumer finance. I know some folks have taken consumer finance in high school, but the first time I taught that unit, there was all sorts of information in there that I wish somebody would have shared with me before I got my first credit card, before I took out my first loan, before I got a mortgage and bought a house. And so I think there's just an awful lot of really useful stuff in that section. So that will be the last unit that we cover. There will be an exam for each unit. Normally, I only give pencil and paper tests, but because we're doing everything through Zoom, your tests will be composed of questions in my math lab. You'll have to take them during class time. You'll have to have Zoom on so I can sort of keep an eye on folks while they're taking the test. But you're going to find that when you answer questions in my math lab, you just put in the answer and it's all right or wrong. And when it comes to something like a test, I think everybody wants partial credit. And so when it comes to the test, I'm going to ask you to, on a piece of paper, do your workout. Question number 1, work. Question number 2, work. You don't have to rewrite the questions. You just have to do your workout. And there's going to be a drop box in Blackboard where you can take a cell phone of a picture of your work and submit it. As it gets closer to the test, I'll show you how to do that. I am not going to accept my math lab test without that supporting work. Having you do your workout, 1, gives you that opportunity for partial credit, and 2, I think it hopefully cuts back a little bit on people using resources other than their selves during a test. I know there are all sorts of crazy apps out there where you can just take a picture of a problem and get an answer. If you have to write your workout, hopefully it discourages you from doing that.
Excuse me, Chris?
Yeah.
I have a question in regards to the exam dates.
Uh-huh.
I looked at the dates in the calendars and they fall on like random Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays.
Okay, I apologize. I teach this class Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
Teach it on a Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, don't you?
Yes, and so
Okay.
that's why it says on or about.
Okay, no
For you
problem.
guys, it'll either be the day before or the day after.
Okay.
Depending on where we are with the material, and I promise you'll know at least a week in advance before
Okay.
they come. But those are approximate dates. Okay?
No problem. Thank you. I just
Oh,
wanted to
and
ask.
thank you for pointing that out. I appreciate that.
I'm a single mom. I have to plan everything by the calendar.
I'll tell you what, I'll go through and I'll dig through that course schedule again and tweak that and adjust and send everybody an email with.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
Class participation, it's important. I have to say I've never brought grades down for lack of participation, but if somebody's on the border, if I can see that they're working hard and participating hard, I'm much more likely to round up, you know, a half a letter grade or something like that. There will be quizzes during the course of the semester. Some will be in my math lab. Some will just be questions in Blackboard where you'll type your answers in. Also with the tests, especially if somebody doesn't do as well on a test as they want, it's not a good thing. But I think if you can go back and learn from your mistakes, you can put a positive spin on it. So I require people to do test corrections. Test corrections don't change the test grade, but instead they'll count as a quiz grade. And the other reason that I ask people to do test corrections is because you're going to find that your final exam will be made up of old test questions. So you want to make sure that any mistake that you made, you can rectify and not do again before you see those same questions on the final. There's, this is math. Is there anybody who plays a sport, participates in a sport?
Yes, me.
Yeah. If
Yeah.
anybody's ever played in a sport, hopefully you've noticed that practice is really important. If you're on a sport team and you don't go to practice, can you just show up to the games and play? No.
No.
In math, the tests are the games. The homework is the practice. You've got to do that homework, that practice to be prepared so that when you show up for the game, you go to take the test, you'll be successful. Make sense?
Yeah.
Yes.
So, in addition to, with going back, with my math lab, there's a due date for every assignment. After the due date, it's going to say at the back side of it, past due. If it says past due, it does not mean that the assignment is closed. You can still go in and work on it. There's just a late penalty that's assessed. I'm trying to incentivize getting them done on time. The late penalty is small. If you don't do an assignment and you do the whole assignment the day after it's due, with that late penalty, it means that the best you can get is a 97.5 instead of 100. That's better than getting a 0 for not doing it. If it's 2 days late, the best you can get is a 95, and so on. If you've got almost the whole assignment done and there's maybe 2 questions at the end that you didn't get done on time, the late penalty is only assessed to those 2 questions. So if you would go through and complete those 2 questions, you can get probably like a 99 as opposed to 100, as opposed to maybe getting just a 90, leaving those questions blank. So go back and do things even if it says past due. If you're working on something and it's super late, you might be given, picture losing 2.5% every day. After 20 days, you're only going to get like half credit. If you're more than 20 days late, it'll be less than half credit. Still do it. I promise at the end of the semester, I'm going to go through my math lab and look at every assignment that was past due and make sure that people get at least half credit. If it's something that's going on in your life that's beyond your control, if you're in the hospital, if something major like that goes on and you can't finish the homework in time, let me know. Usually, if people have something like that going on, rather than changing the due date for them, I tell them to let me know when they finish it, and I'll take away the late penalty. So there's a little bit of flexibility in there. In addition to the homework, there will be 4 projects. Projects are something you'll do pencil and paper. They take the content of there'll be 1 for each unit. They take the content and they ask you to apply it to something that's a little bit more real life. Hopefully, because there's a lot of freedom in them, you're able to pick something that interests you and apply what we've learned to that. Personally, I think the most fun one is the last project, where I ask you to go through and find a house for sale that you'd like to buy, and send me a picture of the house, a picture of the listing, and then I ask you to go through and figure out what the mortgage payments would be for that home. Attendance is important. This usually, I don't include attendance as a part of the grade, but because we're meeting through Zoom and I want to make sure that people attend these meetings, you're going to see down below here that attendance will be 5% of your grade this semester. The exams are 55%. The homework in my labs is 20%. The quizzes are 10%. The projects are 10%. Letter grades are assigned with a scale that's given here. If anybody is taking this like a elective, and you decide you want to go for an SU, take the class we call SU. Other campuses might call it pass-fail. Right now at the college, each teacher, each instructor is able to set their own threshold for S. There was discussion at the end of the spring semester in Faculty Senate. The president wants to have a uniform cutoff. Right now there isn't, and so my cutoff is 65. If that changes because of college policy, I will let you know. Also, after COVID last spring, a lot of people were unable to finish the semester and were unaware that if they were close to completing and had a passing grade, that they could take an incomplete instead of having to retake the course. If you find yourself in those types of situations, please reach out to me as soon as possible and we can try to work something out. The statement about cell phones was kind of more meant for when my classes met on campus. But again, I mean, I don't know about you guys. I know my phone is right next to me, and the only time I'll ever interrupt class to look at it is if I get something from my children, because no matter how old they are, I'm still a mom. But you know, don't have your phone next to you. Don't text your way through class. Don't, you know, watch, you know, videos or whatever through class. It doesn't help you at all. Again, the reason that I'm doing the Zoom meeting live is because students had told me in the spring that watching recorded lectures wasn't enough, that they wanted that live interaction. Accessibility services, if anybody has in the past ever needed accommodations, if you have documentation of that need, you need to call this phone number that's listed and talk to Stephen Burns. I know that I have received documentation from a couple of people that they need extended time or something like that for a test. If you fit that category, I know it's rude, but I'm going to ask you to please remind me of that before the test so that I can go through and adjust it so that you have extra time. I know some people need a note taker and need to record classes. If you fit that bill, anything that I write out as notes, I will post to Blackboard, so the notes will be there for you already written out. And also, again, I am recording the class so that there will be a recording of the class there for everybody. Academic integrity, don't cheat. If you are caught cheating, you get a 0 on that assignment the first time. The second time, academic affairs gets involved and you are dropped from the class, you fail the class. So, you know, make sure your work is your own. Don't use those apps to sell things and all of that. You're not getting your tuition's worth out if you're not learning how to do things on your own. Obviously, we're meeting through Zoom. You're going to need to be able to use a computer in order to be successful with this class. We'll be using Blackboard in my math lab a lot. If anything ever happens that you lose your internet connection, your computer breaks and it stops working, please reach out to me, reach out to OIT, the technology folks on campus. Last spring, when everybody was kind of forced into going online, there was a lot of grants and money available through SUNY, the state university, so that there are computers on campus, pardon me. First of all, you can use a computer in the Learning Commons, you can use a computer in the ACE Center, but there are also computers and devices available for the college to loan to students if there is a need. If your Wi-Fi isn't real strong, again, you can go on campus and use the Wi-Fi in the Learning Commons. Wi-Fi should be available all over campus. They also, in the spring, when everybody kind of went virtual, they upped the strength of the Wi-Fi on campus, so you are supposed to be able to access it from the parking lot. And so, you know, there are picnic tables outside around campus, there's the courtyards, or if you find yourself all of a sudden without Wi-Fi and you need it, even if you need it for something that's not college related, pull up in the parking lot and you should be able to have free access there, okay? Attendance, again, I ask that you be here. And also, oh Lord, it must be on the syllabus elsewhere. There's a statement in there saying that, yes, we are recording classes. So your image and name might be on a recording, but I'm only putting it in Blackboard for other students in the class to use. Um, I'm going to ask that you please go through and read all of the details of this. Usually I hand the syllabus out to people physically, and there's a tear off on the bottom. I ask you to sign that you've read and agreed to all of the policies. Rather than putting a tear off at the end, I'm going to ask that you please send me an email saying that you've read the syllabus and agreed to all the policies. I apologize. I know this is boring for you. I can look at your faces. I wish I could do like a song and dance or something to make it a little bit more interesting, but you guys don't really want me to sing. Does anybody have questions on any of these things before I go on? Or in any of your other classes, was there a policy that I forgot to talk about?
I actually do have a question.
Okay, Debbie.
I know how you said for the exams, we have to show our work on another sheet of paper. Do we also have to do that for the homeworks as well?
My suggestion for the homeworks is that you have a homework notebook and you do your work out there.
Yeah.
Only, you don't have to turn that into me.
Okay,
I'm only suggesting that because if you want to go back and study from those problems, having organized work makes it easier for you. But no, I'm not going to check the work for the homework, just for the tests and quizzes.
Okay, thank you.
If I'm a good person, I would check the work for the homework, but I added up. I'm teaching overload this semester, so I think I've got about 130 students between all of my classes, and I don't think there's enough time in the day to check every.
Right, that's a lot.
Everybody, so I apologize, but good question. Thanks for asking. Anybody else have any other questions?
So is there going to be an assignment after every class?
Say that again?
Is there going to be an assignment after every class?
There is an assignment for every section. Give me a half a second and I'll show you the schedule, which shows what the homeworks are, and I'll show you all of the assignments in my math lab. All right, Jackson?
All right, thank you.
Okay, so can we go back to content?
I just had one question too, sorry. So, the My Math Lab, so I went on there yesterday to find out like what I was supposed to do, and there was a couple different options, and I was just like confused about what I was supposed to pick, because there was an access code or like a $65 package, and I just didn't know which
Can I
one.
tell you, you're about 5 minutes ahead of me, and we're going to be going there real soon. Thank you for pointing that out. Thank you for asking. Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
thank you.
Yeah, no, that's an important part of this gibberish that I have to talk at you today.
All right, sorry about that.
Don't apologize. I appreciate that you were being proactive. That's great.
All right. Okay.
Okay. So let's go back to content. And
If that's okay. Is there any chance at all whatsoever that at some point during the year we'll transfer it back in class kind of thing, or is this strictly going to be on?
right now, I don't think that that option is available because the courses that are meeting on campus, when they asked us to pick a modality for class, the courses that are physically meeting on campus are supposed to mostly be ones with a hands-on element, a lab or something like that, because they want, right now, like a lecture hall that usually holds about 200 people, with socially distancing rules, it can only hold about 50 classrooms that usually hold 30 with the socially distancing rules can only hold about 12. And so I don't know if space would be available for us if we did go back on campus, but if all of a sudden, you know, the COVID is gone and it's perfectly safe, if you folks want, I would actually actively pursue it. But what I'm seeing on the news, I don't know if that's going to happen. So but a decision like that is kind of out of my hands at this stage, Michael. Okay?
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
All right. Going back to content, the schedule, as you look at it, oh dear. thought I put that in as a PDF and that it would pop up. Isn't it funny? I load things the same way in all of my classes, and then it doesn't always necessarily show up the same way. If you look here, there is a list of class dates, the assignments, and when they're due. So, and this is not for your class. I apologize. I uploaded the wrong one. I will make sure that the correct one is in there before the end of the day. Let me real quick get out of here. And instead, I do have it on my thumb drive, and so I'll pull that schedule up for you there.
I'm sorry, is my math lab the book we need, or is that like a place to put assignments? Like,
Yes. It's a little bit of both.
oh,
And I apologize that this schedule was misloaded in Blackboard. I will adjust it as soon as we're done.
Okay.
It
happens.
But here's the right one. Okay, yeah. Do you see how it's a list of the course dates? And then over here where it says section, do you see how it says 2.1, 2.2, 2.3, 2.4?
Yeah.
The textbook for this course has about 14 chapters, and we're only covering 4 of them. So over here where it says section 2.1, what that means is we're looking at content from chapter 2, section 1. In my math lab, that will be labeled as homework 1, and you can see the list of due dates here. And you can also see here the exact dates for the tests. So that will be uploaded in Blackboard as soon as we're done with class. Again, I apologize that I mistakenly gave you the wrong classes schedule in Blackboard, but this will be there. So do you see how it's got all of the correct dates? And it's got the list of all of the homework assignments. All right?
Okay.
What is the FCCC thing that was on there?
Say that again?
There was a section on there for October 1st that said FCCC. What is that?
Oh, okay, all right. Thank you for asking. The Faculty Council of Community Colleges is a governance body. It's kind of like a Senate that has representatives from every community college in the state. There's like 30 of us. I am Niagara County Community College's representative to that body. Right now, their plenary meeting, we get together once a semester for 3 days, a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and usually every semester we meet at a different campus. It's a fascinating thing to do. So I'm getting to see all of the community colleges around the state, and I'm getting to meet people from all the community colleges around the state, but I also get a lot of really important SUNY information that I bring back to the campus. And so on October 1st, that's the plenary. And so right now, it looks like we might be meeting in Albany. If we're not meeting in Albany, we'll be meeting via Zoom. And so there's a very good chance that we won't have class that day. If it's a Zoom meeting, I don't think it would be at 8 o'clock in the morning, so we will still have class that day. But if it's an in-person meeting and I'm going to be in Albany, I probably won't be here that day. Okay? All right, let's go back to content. We'll walk through how to, these how-tos in My Math Lab and Blackboard and uploading your work. But when you're going through and physically doing them, what I talked you through it now, if it's not sufficient, please use those documents that'll be directions. In terms of my office hour will be in Zoom. It'll be again Monday, Wednesday, Friday from 9 to 10, Tuesday and Thursdays from 10 to 11, so more or less after class. And this is where you're going to find the link if you want to come join an office hour. All right?
So I actually work on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays at the hospital, so just email you if I have anything that I need to help
Yes.
with.
And if communicating via email is not enough, if we can come up with a mutually agreeable time, I can meet with you personally through Zoom using this link, if it's something where you want to talk face to face. Or you can send me a phone number and I can call you if it's something that you want to talk to me about if email communication does not suffice. All right?
Absolutely. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks for asking. Let's see. Now, handouts, there's not going to be a lot of handouts, but periodically we're going to be working on word problems. And when I work on word problems in class, I pass out a handout with the problems on it. Because we're not going to be in class for me to do that, I will upload things like that into that folder in Blackboard. Notes, you're going to see when I start giving notes in a little bit that I write on a blank Word document with a stylus. Anything that I write will be posted in that folder. Also in that folder will be a recording of each class. Zoom information, it's that same information that's in the announcements. If you need another place to look for the Zoom link for class. Tests and quizzes, this is going to have a folder for you to submit your work. And again, as it gets closer to a test and quiz, I'll walk you through those steps. Usually the day before a test, I do a practice test with class. And the day we do that, I will show you how to upload the test. Projects, again, the projects will be posted here, and there will also be a Dropbox for you to upload your completed projects. Over here, ACE is the Academic Center for Excellence. It's where you can go in the Learning Commons for tutoring. Right now, they don't have a schedule together for the entire semester, but for this first week, this is the schedule that they have. I know previous semesters they've had drop-in tutoring in person as well as being able to schedule. I don't know if they're having on-campus live drop-in tutoring or not, so it might just be virtual, but this is the information that you need for this first week of classes if you're interested in the ACE Learning Center. When I get their permanent schedule for the semester, I will also put it in this folder. All right? And so that's what's in content. Any question on any of that? Because I'd like to take you to my math lab and show you exactly what my math lab is. Over here, I think most people kind of just go to this first link, which is My Math Lab All Assignments. If anybody has taken this class before, you might be able to, depending on what access code you had, you might be able to use the access code that you have and not purchase another. If you've used My Math Lab before or My Lab's a Pearson product in any other class before, you might have an account with them already and you don't need to create a new account. I'm going to click on just the first one of these links and it's going to take me to a page that hopefully, yeah. asks me to register. Mine is going to look a little bit different because I already have an account with them. I've had an account with them for about 13 years. If you have not used them before, you're going to have to put in your name. You're going to have to give them an email address, your address, and create an account. Please write down the password that you give them. Make sure it's something that you'll remember. Please use a functioning email address, because you're going to find as we go through and look at the homework problems that there's a place where you can ask me a question and I'll respond with an email. That email response is going to go to the email address that you put in here. So please make sure that it's a good functioning email address. After you create, damn it, this happened to me in the other class also. I apologize. After you create the account, you're going to get a screen that, I have a picture of it somewhere, but it would take me too long to search it. Over here on the right-hand side, it's going to look like a group of folders, and it's going to say access code. If you've already purchased an access code from the bookstore, if you already have an access code, you're going to click on that access code button, and you're going to type in your access code. If you have not yet purchased an access code and you're not using financial aid, next to it over here, there will be a couple of options to purchase an access code. There's one option that's a little bit more expensive. I think it's a little over $100, and it gives you 2 years access. If you think you're going to have to take this class more than once, that's the access code you're going to buy. Down below, there'll be another option to purchase an access code that's probably between $60 and $70, and that gives you 1 semester's access. I would recommend that 1 semester's access for most people, because I'm hoping that everybody's successful and nobody needs to repeat the course. Down below at the bottom, there's going to be fine print like this that says, are you waiting for financial aid? If so, click here for 2 weeks free temporary access. If you don't have an access code by next class, I would strongly recommend that everybody use that 2 weeks free access so that you can get started right away. I apologize. The right screen popped up with all of my other classes yesterday, but because I've used that so many times, Pearson isn't letting me get there. But is that enough of an explanation for the difference between the access codes, the one where it just says access code on the left-hand side? You're going to click on that and put it and type in the access code that you bought at the bookstore. Otherwise, on the right-hand side, if you're not buying it from the bookstore, if you're not using financial aid, you can purchase the access code directly from Pearson. There's 2 options. The less expensive option is for 1 semester's access. However, if you have to repeat the course, you'll have to repurchase that 1 semester access. Otherwise, the more expensive access gives you access to 2 years. Yeah, I mean, that's a decision that you need to make. I do believe that the access code that you buy in the bookstore, I'm not sure if it's the 1 semester or the 2-year access. You'd have to ask them. So access code part, all right. Once you do that, you can click on something that will take you to your course. And I apologize. This is not taking me there. So I'm going to exit preview. Back to my math lab. Because when I'm in preview, it treats me as a student. Now I'm going to go to all assignments. And this is partly like that. There it is. I apologize. I have no idea why it was asking me to give you guys a survey. This is partially like that schedule. It's got a list of all of the homework assignments and their due dates here. If it's past due, it will say it. I did not put time limits on any of the assignments, just on the tests and quizzes. And again, you can take it as many times. Each homework assignment you can do over as many times as you want. Only the highest score counts. I'm going to click here on this first homework assignment. And we'll have over here a list of the questions. I'm going to pick on a random question. And yes, this is totally random. Usually you're going to start with the first question and you're going to go through in order. When I do that, I will get the question. This is a multiple choice question. X is the number of women who served as UN Secretary General before 2000. I'm going to just guess. And, oh, I got it right. Okay, let's determine if the set is empty or not. And so this one I'm going to intentionally get wrong. And when I intentionally get wrong, do you see how it says, okay, it's wrong, you can go on to the next question? Instead of going on to the next question, you can also click on similar question. And it won't be the same question, but it'll be a similar question that you have an opportunity to retry it. And this time, when I get it right, and they give me full credit for the question. As you're going through with multiple choice, they just give you one with true, false, and multiple choice like that, they just give you one choice. If it was a free response, they give you 3 chances at the question to get it right before you have to do a similar question. Over here on the right-hand side, there's something question help. Question help. If I click on help me solve this, what it does is it walks me through the problem one step at a time, telling me what I need to do to solve it. Instead, if I go to textbook, it takes me to a page of that virtual textbook where that content is explained. And so that you do have access to the digital book through My Math Lab. And so that's what I meant. It's where you do your homework, but it's also where the digital book is. Ask My Instructor. What that does is it gives you a field where you can type in a question about the problem that you're working on. In addition to what you type in, it sends me the problem that you're working on, and it also sends me the last answer that you put in. And I promise I will get back to you, unless I'm out of town or something like that, I'll try to get back to you within a couple of hours. The only exception to that rule, if you send me an email too much after 9, 10 o'clock at night, you probably won't get a response until real early the next morning, because usually by 9, 10 o'clock at night, if I'm not asleep, I'm half asleep, and you don't want me answering a question like that. So I'll respond first thing in the morning. The other options that's in here in question help is print. I know some people don't like looking at the computer screen. If you want to, you can print out the whole assignment, do it pencil and paper, and then go back and enter your answers into the computer in My Math Lab to see if you got them right or not. If you do not purchase the access code after those 2 weeks free, that will be the source of the pencil and paper assignments that I will be giving you. And again, they would be due on the due date. So when you're done, you can click save, but you don't have to. It usually saves on its own. I have no idea what this is doing. I want to go back to Blackboard and my math lab. The calendar of assignments is here. The grade book is here so that you can see your grades on my math lab assignments. Again, at the end of the semester, I will submit zeros for missing assignments, and I will add to the partial credit for late assignments if you've gotten less than half credit. Over here with the multimedia library, you can get that multimedia textbook. Again, when I said it was homework 2.2, that tells me I'm in chapter 2, and the second number is the chapter 2, the second number is the section. You can go to the virtual textbook. You can also click over here and get videos. The videos are someone who's paid by the publisher to do video lectures on the content, so that there are also additional lessons in there for you. I just looked at the clock and we're running out of time. Is this enough of an explanation about what that whole My Math Lab thing is about?
I do have a question.
Sure.
So for the homework assignments, are we able to start the homework and then like save it and leave and then come back to it at a later time?
Yes. You
Okay,
can
so
start
they
any assignment. Somebody in one of my other classes was asked yesterday if there was a certain date, they were supposed to wait to start the homework. No, you can start it at any time. But if you start a problem at the end of that's at the end of the semester, and you look at it and you open it, but you don't do anything, they're going to count that open assignment with no answers in as a 0. So it might make your grade in the grade book look a little off, but you can open any assignment at any time. You can, you don't have to hit save. It saves what you put in. And if you don't finish it, you can go back and finish it at another time.
Okay.
Okay?
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Any other questions that anybody else has?
Yeah, I have a question.
Yeah.
If you have a MyMathLab code, how long does it last for?
It depends on the code that you have. It's course specific. So if you have a My Math Lab code and you took, let's say, a different math class last semester, that won't work. You have to have a My Math Lab code specifically for this course. It's pretty difficult. And depending on the access code that you purchase, there are some that are only good for 1 semester, and then the more expensive ones are good for 2 years. But again, it's only if you purchase an access code for contemporary math, Math 106, it will only be good for contemporary math, Math 106, and not a different math course.
Yeah, it was for contemporary math.
It was for contemporary math? When did you take it?
Wait a minute.
I'll tell you what, if you don't need to purchase a new one when you go into class, they won't ask you to buy one if your old code is still good. If they ask you to buy one, you have to get a new one. All right?
Okay. Can I ask you something when everybody else leaves?
We can meet at the end of class, that's fine. Okay?
Yeah.
Anybody else have a question?
Before we go, you told us to remind you to double check attendance before we all left.